All right, so that was a absolutely wild and very, very, very close to tragic Daytona 500. So before the video starts, I just want to let everyone know NASCAR did a statement 38 minutes ago at the time of recording saying Ryan Newman's being treated at Halifax Medical Center. He's in serious condition, but doctors have indicated his injuries are not life-threatening. We appreciate your thoughts and prayers and ask that you respect the privacy of Ryan and his family during this time. We appreciate your patience and cooperation, and we will provide more information as it becomes available. This is a massive sigh of relief when I saw that. I was in a Discord call with a bunch of other people at that point, and everyone was just so relieved at the entire thing. But no, it was. we'll get more to Ryan Newman later. But so on to the actual race. We start out Sunday morning. The race is delayed. Tries to start, it's delayed again, and then nothing really interesting happened in the first 20 laps of the race. I guess the only really interesting thing that happened on Sunday was Trump's limo. That was pretty cool. I thought that was awesome. Yeah, and the race restarts on Monday, and nothing really interesting happens anymore. But I think this is either stage 1 or stage 2. I don't remember which. But William Byron spins out of the race. Stenhouse pretty much just takes him out, right?
Gotten around
Like,
the 10,
watch
gets
this.
to the rear bumper of the 13, little surge of the 47. Oh, he gets to the left side of
He
that.
pretty much just takes him out right then and there. Of course, it's just Stenhouse being Stenhouse at the super speedways. You know, that's fine. I guess like he's with a new team now, so at least Roush doesn't have to deal with him. But still, just starting out your new season with a new team and dumping the person in the 24 car at Hendrick. It's not a very good first impression. But so Byron spins, hits the wall, he's out of the race. I was a little disappointed. I kind of wanted him to stick around to the finish. But, I guess not everything can work out the way that we want it to. Now, second caution, I think it was the second caution of after the race restarted. So Quinn Half pretty much just gets dumped he doesn't get dumped. He comes up on Amarola. It was kind of a mix of both of them. And collects BJ McLeod somehow. I went back and I watched the replay, and I couldn't I didn't know what McLeod was doing. He just he was going in a straight line, and he must have had a seizure or something because he just slammed his car into the right. Went to the right, slammed his car into the wall for literally no reason at all. Just watch this.
They're coming up to put him a lap down. It looked to me like, Quinn just came up a little bit more than what the 10 of Almirola was expecting, and they just touched
so
him.
that right there was after he hit the wall the first time. So I just don't know what he was doing. Yeah, so stage 2 happens. Hamlin wins. We get Truex running over Elliott's fuel can.
And nails a gas can that somebody must have pulled.
I thought that was hilarious. Kind of sucked though for that fuel guy though. So stage 1, Elliott wins. Stage 2, Hamlin wins. And then we get into maybe one of the most interesting stages I've ever seen at Daytona. The racing was really, really good. Kudos to Eric Jones for absolutely dumping Stenhouse as he was going into the pits after trying to serve his penalty for going under the line. Props to you. And then Kyle Busch actually blows up. And one lap after that happens, we get this. Now, Alright. So I'm just going to play this, and then I'll
You
tell
can
you
see
guys what I
Joey
think of
Logano
it.
really aggressive to the rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all the way up to the 2. And they just, right before the 10 gets there, there's a little bit of movement.
So, that was entirely Logano's fault. Like,
You can
in
see Joey
full,
Logano really aggressive to the
because
rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all
you see him coming up right there, and pretty
aggressive to the rear
much
bumper of the 10.
not giving Amarola a choice of where to go, and just
He's going
slams
to
him into
push
his
him all the way
teammate.
up to the 2. And they just,
And
right before the 10 gets there,
there was nowhere for Amarola to go. And if he had stomped on the brakes, he would have spun out anyway. So there was nothing that he could do. I fully blame Logano for that crash. And keep in mind, Christopher Bell had an amazing race up until what you're about to see, the second big one of the race. But Christopher Bell was absolutely, like, he had an amazing Cup Series debut. Like, props to him. He got taken out in this wreck, but still, he did very well. And so now we get to the second big wreck of the race. This is one forced NASCAR overtime. But yeah, so I'll just play it and I'll talk about it.
gets down in
So
front of the 6 and really stalled out this whole lane, continued his momentum, although the 17 right there was going.
all right, so here's my view on this one. So all right, so let's take this slowly. So Chastain is down here, right? Newman is coming up. Priest is coming down. Chastain is also coming down. Now, I think that all of this totally could have been avoided if Priest hadn't have went 2 lanes over to try and take the bottom for literally no reason at all. Like, yes, Chastain was trying to go, like, look at how close he is to the yellow line. He was trying to go for a gap that was not there. Okay? It wasn't there at all. And then Priest just kind of doors him because Chastain has nowhere to go. And they both end up going down to the line. And right there, if Chastain have just kept it going, and I guess not, yeah. If he hadn't, all right. If Chastain had have just kept it going, he totally could have saved it. But his problem was that he turned the wheels way over to the right. And that triggered this. Totally, just entirely took out pretty much almost the rest of the cars there. It was a big wreck. And for some reason, Logano tried to come back from that one, but his car looked like a friggin' F1 car. At the end of that, Chastain was done. Logano was done. That was the wreck that ruined Christopher Bell's race too, which sucked because he was doing so well. And same with Chastain. He was doing awesome up until that point. And then forces overtime. We didn't really get too much of a first overtime because I think it was McDowell. Yeah, McDowell, Boyer, and Justin Haley had an incident, and it happened not even before the green flag waved for the start of overtime. So we had that happen, and then we had some of like the best 2 laps in racing that I've seen. Chase Elliott spins on the back in the front stretch after the start finish line, coming on the final lap, and then coming out of the corner. Okay, I was so excited for Ryan Newman to win his second Daytona 500. I was ecstatic because he had been running super well all race, and I was so excited. And then, yeah, here's Big Newman,
for the final
right?
time. Blaney to the outside, to the inside. Here comes Hamlin up the outside. Crash into the wall, into the air. Goes Newman.
Upside down.
And, yeah, Hamlin won the race. I'm not happy that Denny Hamlin won the race at all. It isn't because I don't I do. I like Denny Hamlin. There were so many underdogs. Like, you had Newman, Blaney, Buescher, Harvick. Harvick wasn't really an underdog, but he was nowhere. in the entire first part of the race. You had LaJoy. I mean, you even had Justin Haley up there, who I think this is a one-race deal for him and Colleague. And obviously, like, it was a statement that was made. Ryan Newman his injuries aren't life-threatening, but you can see. I'm gonna open up this. You can see why he was in danger in general. You can see why, because he not only hit the wall, he got spun into the wall, and so these roll cages and these cars are built for one hit. And after that one hit, they don't do very well with the second or third, or in this case, a fourth. So first hit, Ryan Newman spins into the wall, and that turns the car over, right? He goes up in the air, and it hits back on the same side of the car a second time. Then LaJoy rams into him. Obviously, like, he had nowhere to go. And at this point, the car looks like this. And if you can see right here, the roll cage is actually deformed because it's not suited for three massive hits. And then after that, he comes back down on that same side and slides across the racetrack for about 10 seconds. And like, the safety in these cars is as good as it will ever get, but nothing will ever stop something like that happening. Like, no matter how safe that you make these cars, you're never going to stop a situation like what happened with LaJoy and Newman. Because if that happens, there's going to be trouble. And it's just, it was crazy. Because I've never seen anything like that happen before. In my opinion, this is worse than the Austin Dillon crash, and is the second worst wreck I've ever seen outside of the 2011 IndyCar final. But yeah, so that was the end of the race. Hamlin won. Here's the results. Hamlin wins the race. Blaney second. Buescher third in his outing with Roush. I was very happy that Chris Buescher got third, because he was running pretty well all race. And he didn't have the power to push Newman when he needed to, but Blaney made up for that on the last lap. And I still think it's cool that Buescher even got this opportunity to be in the 17 in general, but holy crap. And David Reagan getting fourth in his last NASCAR race, I thought was super cool. Because back in 2011, he got completely screwed out of a July. Was it the July race? No, it was the Daytona 500. He got completely screwed out of the Daytona 500 for coming up on a restart. And I think that's cool, because he's had all of his success at super speedways, and to finish it out with a top 5 at the Daytona 500, I think that's cool. Harvick got 5th, Boyer 6th, Brendan Gaughan 7th in his last Daytona 500. I thought that was cool. Corey LaJoy 8th, and Ryan Newman 9th, Larson 10th, John Hunter Nemechek in 11th was also pretty good. All the front row guys ran pretty well. They're normally really good at staying out of trouble in the super speedways. Austin Dillon 12th, Haley 13th, good run for him, McDowell 14th, Darrell Wallace Jr. 15th. Wallace always runs pretty good here. Brendan Poole 16th. All right, so I feel like that he's never going to be top tier, but he stuck around until the end, and that's pretty much what matters about Brendan Poole. Like, I think Brendan Poole could be like the next Jamie McMurray, I think. Elliott 17th, Jones 18th, DeBenedetto 19th. He got caught up in the first big one. Stenhouse 20th, Christopher Bell 21st, which sucks for him because he was doing so well. Amarola 22nd, Gase 23rd, Bowman 24th, and then all the rest of these cars just got taken out. Jimmy Johnson finishing 30th. I was actually pretty sad that Jimmy didn't even get to finish his last Daytona race or Daytona 500, because he's won how many? I think he's won 2. I think so. I think he's won 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but no, I thought that sucked because he was running up front most of the race again, and like before the big one, he was doing so well. One of the questions too that I was asked was who's going to take over the 6 next week? Because Ryan Newman, I am more than 100% sure he's not going to be racing for a while. So there are 3 picks I can see replacing Newman in the 6 next week. I can see Daniel Suarez. I know it's kind of a long shot, but Suarez is the best person for the 6 car because he already has 3 years of NASCAR experience. He's driving for Gaunt Brothers, which doesn't have a charter, so he has to he can either race his way into every event or he can do a couple races with Roush. And for Suarez, I think that would be the best. This is the best plan of action for him if he can even get this red. Now, granted, Suarez is kind of garbage, but it is what it is, you know. Like he was given the equipment for more than 3 years, more than his whole Cup career, and like he performed in Xfinity, but then he got a Cup ride and he just never did anything with it. The second pick I can see is possibly either Trevor Bayne or Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth, I highly doubt because he's done. Like he's still a very very good racer. I just don't think he's gonna come back. And Trevor Bayne, I think he opened up a coffee shop or something where he lives. So that's also a long shot, but he's been in the 6 car before. So that was why I thought that. And then the third one, which is a complete long shot. Like, we were pretty much just saying this for the meme, but a bunch of people were thinking that Hailie Deegan might practice the 6 car. She wouldn't race it, but she'd practice the 6 car because she did just strike that deal with Ford not too many months ago to drive the 4 in the ARCA series. But actual third person I can see driving the 6 car is Ross Chastain. Because, and as some people disagreed with me on this until I reminded them of how many teams that Chastain drove for, or that he has driven for in the last couple of years. He's driven for JD, he's driven for Ganassi, he's driven for Nice Motorsports, he's driven for Colleague, he drove for Ganassi and Spire in this race. And I don't know, even though it's not the best circumstances, this could be Ross Chastain's big break if he gets chosen to replace Newman in the 6 car for however long Newman's going to be out for. Now, could he be out for as long as Robert Wickens has been out in the IndyCar series? Yes. And I think that because looking back at the picture here, I'm going to throw it back up again. Looking back at the picture, it's like I said earlier, no amount of safety is going to stop a Ford Mustang NASCAR car hurtling at you, and no amount of safety is going to stop that if he rams into your driver's side while you're on your roof. It's just not going to happen. So until we learn more about Newman, I'm not going to make any more like predictions on who's going to replace him, because that's only in a worst case scenario. But yeah, I'm trying something new on this channel. I'm going to try doing this for every single race of the season. But yeah, I've always wanted to do race reviews. I've been a huge fan of NASCAR ever since I was 4, and I've just always wanted to do this for a long time, and I felt like this was the race to kickstart it because of how serious it was on so many levels. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.